the cranberry sauce. I have mashed potatoes. Yeah. Oh, what's cooking you?
Speaking of potato, Pearl asked Santa for a goat, and guess what she wants to name it? Potato.
That's a good name. Potato the
Potato.
goat. I like it. Is it? It's the potato the
Potato
goat. A
around the
sweet
yard.
potato? Is he a
I
red
mean,
potato?
in
Is he a
terms of
yellow potato?
carb sources, I would say potatoes are indeed goated.
I like
Agree.
them.
I too like potatoes.
I mean, my family was like Idaho people, so I have to like
I
potatoes,
too am the hoe. No, I'm kidding.
like by default. So like my grandfather was from a town and that like
Right.
when we went there when I was 18, still only had like 600 people. My grandma kind of the same thing. Um, I remember like it was just wild. There's just not that it's farms. There's not a lot of people. You got one school for all three, like elementary, middle, high school in the town. I'm like, there's just not much going on. Um, but yeah, man. So they farmed. They did not actually farm potatoes themselves as kids,
I
though.
grew potatoes 2 years ago. Man, it's a good harvest.
You can neglect them just straight up and they will still grow.
Problem is, you get so many fucking potatoes. What do you do with all of them?
Right. Like no wonder the Irish are
Kill
like,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, boil them, mash them, stick them in a
I know,
stew.
but you can only get through so many.
No,
So
wrong.
No.
we ended up we have a flour mill attachment,
Of course you
and
do.
that was what we ended up doing was making flour out of it. Uh-huh. Yeah, because like potato bread's super tasty.
I don't know if I would call it super tasty, but yeah, it's all right.
Oh, I love it. It's got like a little hint of sweet to it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
like
eat real sweets. So like
Steven's like,
bread,
fuck that.
just
well, no, no,
bread.
no. Like
Nothing
look,
beats a big ass piece of Texas toast.
okay, hell yeah. But also like with a sandwich, I'm such like, hey, meat, cheese, lettuce, tomato, a little bit of like chipotle sauce on there. So you get that little hint of sweet from the potato bread and it just completes the flavor profile.
I just do pub subs, man. I've been on a pub sub bender lately.
I'm gonna just say I think that pub subs are overhyped for the amount of wait time that you have to deal with.
That is an absolute. So one, you can order them online ahead of time, and you have no wait time. So, and two, that's not even a valid because that will change based on when you go.
He refuses your excuse.
Yeah,
That's fine. You can refuse it all you want. I will
I refute
all
you.
day long either make my own or just voila.
What's the word when you're exercising demons? I rebuke you in the name of our Lord and Savior. I rebuke you.
Exorcism?
Rebuked in the name of the Jenkins family.
Yeah, in the name of Vishnu. I don't know, man. One of them. Whatever. So speaking of the Lord,
This episode's not.
jingle the bells, jingle the balls. Right. That's what I'm naming it, and hopes that everybody will listen to it. Just trying to figure out what
Yeah.
the fuck we're talking about. So Christmas, it's like the vibe. I know it's Thanksgiving week. This isn't going to come out until after Thanksgiving because I could put it out, but I don't want to do two in 1 week and have a blah blah blah. Like
Holiday special.
navigating this time of year tends to be really difficult for a lot of people.
Brings a lot of anxiety, I feel like, for people, the holidays.
And I think that it's multi-layered and like multifaceted. It's not simply just a food thing. It is very much so like a family dynamics, a stress management, work, expectations, hours, lifestyle, all the things put together. I, I do think, and even though I hate the fact that we have to talk about the shit every single year, so it just seems like it never really goes away, but it is still important to talk.
Yeah, you also never know when it's the first time somebody's hearing it, but then also there's so much just piss poor relationship with food put out there on social media, especially around the holidays. Like it's mind-boggling to me how much external stress gets created from influencers regarding your holidays, regarding Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, like whatever you're celebrating. Whenever holidays, yes, there's typically food involved, but That's what happens whenever people gather. Typically, there's some type of meal being shared, but the main focus should be on the people around you. Like, not so much, "Hey, I'm gonna go crazy," and there's all this external, like, just messaging creative, like, "Oh, you're gonna go crazy on your food, you're gonna overeat, you're gonna binge, you're gonna this, you're gonna that," and it's like, "Whoa, I'm still a week away or 3 weeks away from that or a month away from that. Why is that written in stone suddenly?
I
Not
feel
what
like the
you remember."
biggest misconception, or I know this week and last week, I've gotten the main thing that's been in a check-in is how should I navigate Thanksgiving? I don't want to screw things up or I don't want to hurt the progress I've already made. There's a misconception that one meal and one day with your family is going to completely erase all the hard work you've done. And it's absolutely, could your weight spike 2 to 3 pounds? Yeah. Will it come right back down in a week? Yeah.
So I think that's like the all or nothing mentality. And, obviously we've all worked with competitors, so we know it pretty well with like that type A kind of vibe where it's like I'm either fucking on it and perfect or I don't give a shit and it doesn't exist to me. And so I think that the misconception comes from what a lot of people do, which is they have that one occurrence, that instance, that thing that's like it's off, so to speak. And then they're off. They're like, well, already fucked up the holidays, might as well enjoy them.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of cascades into, or snowballs, if you will, in the Christmas spirit, um,
And I
into like a consistent behavior.
Yeah, I know for my clients this week, I sent out an email yesterday just for like holiday hours, but what I told my clients is be as good as you want to be. And what I meant by that is obviously if somebody's in contest prep or some people are just more laser focused, they don't feel like they're missing out if they don't put food in their mouth. Like some people will really feel like, hey, this experience is going to be completely wrecked if I can't enjoy the meal. Or some people are like, hey, no, like I'm zoned in. So I always tell my clients, like, if you're an active contest prep, the email said you got to be 100%. Like, unless we were ahead or other arrangements had been made. But I have those conversations with my clients. When they say, hey, I want to do this show, I'll say, hey, we're going to have this holiday and we're going to have this holiday. Are you going to be okay with? And I always say, too, if it's an issue, I've started people's preps. I have somebody starting prep next week. We're starting about 3 weeks ahead because she wants to be able to have a meal at Christmas and she wants to go out on New Year's Eve. And I said, great. Here's how we accommodate that. We just start a little bit early, get you a little bit ahead, if you will.
Yep.
But I think usually there's a compromise you can kind of make with yourself on, okay, this is my goal, but I also want this. So how do I make that work?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. I have the same for a couple. Like we're just starting a little bit early because we know that they tend to have a harder time losing weight, and their body tends to fight us, and blah blah blah, whatever. The extra time just does us benefit and allows them to have a little bit more balance there and be able to pull back for the
Yeah.
holidays.
Now for me, I've got a guy that we kinda started prep a little early, but it was also like, "Hey," he's he's got vacation for a couple of days, like, right before Thanksgiving, and then he's got kids, like, yeah, you're gonna wanna enjoy Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, cool, so, yeah, let's start just, like, 3, 4 weeks early compared to what we would for this show. So, like, that's a big thing for me is just communicate with your coach, like, what's happening in your life. Like, you're more than just a number on a scale, what your tape measure is showing. You're more than just your progress photos. There's shit happening in everyone's life. And a good coach can make a plan around all that stuff. There is kind of that, hey, we have to be realistic. If somebody's like, oh, I've got a vacation every month for the next 3 months,
Let's
The
slow
rubber's got
down
to meet the
progress a
road.
little bit. A little bit.
you're at some point going to have something give, like either your food flexibility or your actual goal line, your timeline needs to change. I love whenever people are just super honest with me with, hey, here's what I've got going on in life. Here's how much it matters to me too. Cause like I've got another client that we're starting prep fairly early for an early season show for 2026. I was like, well, hey, how much does being able to have like an untracked meal on Christmas mean to you if you're in prep? She said, honestly, it's my first Christmas where my kids aren't going to be here for the holidays. I don't have any family coming into town. She was like, it's just me and my husband. I'm good to just have a normal day. Like food isn't really our thing. We'd rather just enjoy a day together, kind of quiet, go to the movies, keep our things locked in. Okay, cool. If that's what serves you, then green light.
And I think too, remembering people, whether if you're listening to this, you're like, I would really like to stick to things, but I don't want to miss out on food. Because some people really feel like if I don't eat this, if I don't do this, they feel like they're failing the people around them. It's a really weird thing. But I would encourage you to find something you could do with your family that's not food related. Like, for example, there is some hilarious Christmas games people play at their family gatherings. You can even like make cookies with your kids. You don't have to eat the cookie. Like, if you want to stick to your goals. Now, what I want to eat the cookies, yes, but I'm not in
Hell
contest
yeah.
yet, and that would bring me more joy than not. But find things to do that's going to give them a memory. They're gonna be like, remember that Christmas we did XYZ? That was so fun. They're not gonna be like, remember that Christmas you stuffed your face and threw up? Like, well, they might remember that, but like we and it's just a cultural thing. We connect food to joy. We connect food to sorrow. We connect, if somebody passes, they bring you a bunch of food. If you get married, there's a bunch of food, and so food is just very interconnected. And culturally, sometimes other cultures, it's a lot more connected. Like if you tell grandma you don't want another helping, grandma's going to be pissed. Like there's cultures like that if you turn down their food, you hurt their feelings.
Mhm.
And so
I
just,
had to train my family. Uh, no, like real talk. Because they didn't understand it.
Mm,
And like if you think about like my grandparents, right? My grandma's closing in on 90, right? She's getting up there. And so when she grew up, it wasn't like there was just this huge abundance of extra food. And the food that there was not the same. It wasn't so processed. You didn't have all these super calorie dense options. Like, yeah, you would make some, but like that was kind of few and far between. You weren't making pies all the time. You weren't making cakes all the time. Those were like very special occasion things for them. And so, like the way that, like as they grew up and encountered food, is that when you went over and you ate a really good meal and you made sure you were full, it wasn't the same in terms of like calorie value and density that we have today. And so I had to really work with my family and really push back on some of that and being like, hey, I don't need this, or this doesn't like fit what I want, or like, look, I just can't do that and like be where I want to be with maybe my weight or my goals. And that's a hard thing too, is having those like difficult conversations with people that like might not have any real nutrition experience or education or whatever we want to call it, and being like, hey, it's not that I don't want to eat. It's not that I'm trying to starve myself or whatever. I mean, contest prep kind of, but um, it's just that because of the way things are, I have to be aware of it. It's the same thing when like what I can get away with eating on a regular basis to maintain weight is not what my wife can.
Mhm.
And again, we've had this conversation. Like Phil and I have very different calorie intake needs for what we can get away with if weight maintenance is our goal.
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I remember kind of more from the outsider perspective of the first holiday season that I spent with Nikki's family. I mean, it's a big food family, and it's a lot of like traditional recipes that have been passed down from like
A lot
great
of
great
fun.
great grandmother, like all the way down. So it's like almost insulting to not try certain things. And I remember the very first holiday season with them, I was like, "Hey, look, the days leading up to it, I'm just gonna keep everything locked in. Like, this is my food scale. Like, I went to the grocery store. I just got like stuff each individual day because didn't have any fridge space because of holiday meal
Yeah.
prep.
Yeah.
But I would just go to the grocery store first thing every day after the gym and just, okay, I've got a chicken breast, I've got the instant rice, I've got steamable broccoli. Like, hey, this is just what I'm eating for the days leading up to the first holiday we spent together was Thanksgiving. So this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. So that the day of I can just enjoy trying some of this stuff. And like there's a difference between, hey, I'm trying this. So I view food portion size as like especially for holidays, like, "Hey, I'm just trying this," like, "Hey, try a little bit, like a bite or two." Then there's like, "Hey, I'm having a serving of this." Like, "Yeah, okay, I like it." And then there's, "Whoa, I really love this." So for me, with long-term success on substantial weight loss, that's how I try to structure my plate. And for a lot of my clients, where it's more on the lifestyle, like, hey, we're rebuilding habits or we're providing education for the first time around nutrition and around plate design and portion control. Like, I try to tell people, put your protein on first. Like, that is like the non negotiable for a holiday meal is protein first. Then you're gonna get a veggie on there, and then pick one thing you love, pick one thing that you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna try this," and then pick one thing that you're like 1 or 2 things that you're like, "Okay, well, let me just try this because I don't wanna piss off Aunt Gertrude," or, "Hey, it's a new
There's always
person."
that one dish nobody eats a lot of.
Yeah, yeah, so
How many people
that's
do you guys have in your family? Because there's like 4 of us for Thanksgiving. It's like me, my wife, my mom, my grandma. Like, there's nobody to really piss off except for grandma.
Nobody wants to piss off grandma.
No, you don't wanna piss off my
I
grandma.
would never
That
piss
is
off my
correct.
granny on purpose.
no. So, like, we're keeping it fairly small, like, this year it's gonna just be the 4 of us, and then, Troy and his family are coming over, so, like, 7
Oh,
of.
it's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah,
You
but,
know
like
it's gonna be good because my voice cracked out.
Yeah,
like
so I told my clients very similar. Fill up on protein, get a very small portion of kind of everything you want. And when you're done, see if one, you're even hungry anymore. If you are, go back for anything you wanted another portion of. But I think too, and it's a holiday thing, or if, even if you're eating out at a restaurant, when you put everything on your plate, you're gonna overeat because you're gonna try to clear your plate, or something's gonna be real good, and we will. It takes your body a second to realize you're full before you know you're full. And so if you eat really fast or you eat a bunch, all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I took it too far. Like then it hits you and you're like, okay, I ate too much. I'm uncomfortable.
So
that's
I
why I
actually
also encourage people to, like, have something to drink with their food because, like, the water is gonna help to, like, slow down how fast you're eating, and it's gonna just
have
greatly
water with your food or fluids or a non-calorie beverage. If you're drinking straight scotch with your food, it might not be helping.
Right, that's the
How
opposite
it
of.
works, I can only have water when I eat food or it ruins it. Exception is pizza and I must have a Diet Coke.
So I feel like I am a fucking giant man child. And although, yes, I've been telling all of my clients the same, focus on lean protein and veggies. If I don't put veggies on my plate, and I don't mean fucking green bean casserole, right? Green bean casserole is still really calorie dense. If I don't do my veggies, I'm probably not going to get them if I don't make that one of the first things I do, which is evidenced by my daily lunches. If I don't have them ready and do them first, I'm just going to have chicken and rice. Um, and so for some people, like you might want to focus on veggies first. The one thing I will say that's really good that my grandma does, because we always have done Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house, is there's always like veggies and dip out ahead of time. Yes, they're
Ooh.
raw, so they're a little bit harder on digestion for some people. But there's always like carrots and pickles and broccoli and stuff. And there's some dip, yeah, if you want it. Um, but that helps me because like that's our appetizer, which is lame as an appetizer. I get it. Um, but that forces me to make sure that I have veggies in beforehand. And then, like, because I feel like for a lot of people, that kind of vegetable isn't actually a part of these meals. It's the casseroles, it's the other stuff
Yeah.
that does tend to be a little bit more calorie dense. So even though yes, technically it's a vegetable, it's done so in a very delicious way that creates more calories in that, which makes it easier to go overboard on the stuff. But maybe not even recognize it because you're like, "But I just ate a bunch of broccoli with cheese. It was a vegetable."
Yeah. I think you touched on something important too is before a big holiday meal, I highly suggest having a little bit of food leading up to that meal. Stick to your normal macros and serving sizes for meals leading, depending on what time of day. So like we usually eat around 1. So I'll get up and have a normal protein-based breakfast. I'll probably have a little snack before I head to my mom's and then I'll have the meal. But if you go into a large holiday meal starving so you could save your calories, you're going to overeat. Like it's just, and that's in any normal day scenario. If you wait too long to eat and you're very hungry, the odds of overeating, unless you're just a really controlled person, is going to happen.
1000%. Like, my big my big survival is just keeping survival is such a piss poor phrase to use with food, but kind of my like
No, I think that's valid because some people, like, they really feel that way about it. We all know that some people really make this into a life and death thing. For some people, it maybe even is. Like, when we would talk to people at cardiac rehab, and I always think of that because I lived with my grandparents when I was interning half the week there, blah, 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 whatever. Um, like, for those people, their dietary habits and changes literally could be the difference between whether they had another 5 to 10 years of life or if they were gonna, continue to go downhill.
true,
Um,
true.
so I think for some people, it is absolutely important for us to recognize that that may be part of their situation. Maybe they just had, a TIA or a heart attack or something, and so now their diet is really a huge focus for their overall health, which it should be to some degree anyways. And then for some of us that, again, a lot of people don't have a healthy relationship with food. And if you don't, and you have a history of that, and now you're going into this and you're like, but I've been losing weight with my coach, or I've been, being successful dieting, and now it turns into this really anxiety based, stressful situation. I mean, it's hard. I don't want that to
Yeah,
be their feeling, but I also want to I think it's important that we say that is how a lot of people tend to feel about these
If
things as
you can
well.
yeah,
take the emotion out of food, that's the biggest hurdle with clients and with people is if you can take the emotion out, it's a lot better. Like, hey, I could have this food anytime, not Thanksgiving, but also too, if you do happen, like some people will plan on like I ate ahead of time. I did XYZ, but then the food came and I went overboard. I think the most important thing is you should never feel guilty for an experience, right? Like you shouldn't feel guilty that you went to Thanksgiving with your family. Some of those family members, that could be the last Thanksgiving you have with them. Like enjoy that. If you do go over, I think the biggest thing I like to stress is don't try to do damage control. You didn't damage anything. You didn't break anything. You didn't fail me. You didn't fail yourself. You are living life. It's a completely normal human experience to overeat sometimes. Like that, we have all done it and we all do it. And I think some people will try to do extra cardio or really cut food the next day. And I think that just keeps this spiral of shame that you're never going to kick outside of until you just can try to break that emotion with food.
yeah. And I love what you brought up because it's something that I've been mentioning to a lot of my clients the last couple of years. Like that's what sucks about being like on the back end of 30 is like you start seeing those holiday family tables get smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's almost like a okay, older relatives, start passing, but then the table starts getting big again if you're, if you're blessed and lucky, with younger family members, kids, nieces, nephews, right?
Dogs,
But
goats.
dogs,
Goats. I should make a
dogs.
video of me trying to eat Thanksgiving meal next to Tina.
Have you
Tina's
seen
black
the
lunch
videos of the guy where it's
with the
Bruce the
cow.
cow?
Yes, that's
Yes.
what makes me want to do it with the goat because our goat comes inside and he's fucking crazy. And I know it would be a good time.
Oh,
Get a
I'd love
little
to see
outfit
that.
for him.
Like, I look at like Christmas 2023 was the last holiday that I had with my Mimo, and I had no idea whenever I walked her home that night that the next day the ambulance was gonna come. She was in the ICU, and 2 weeks later, she's on a ventilator, and a week later, she's gone. Like, I am so glad that I wasn't worried about what my calories were because that's the last time that I had her mac and cheese, and that was, like as a kid, that was my favorite part of the Christmas Day dinner was Meemaw's mac and cheese. Like, it was she cut the cubes up, like, she put 4 different types of cheese in there, the noodles, like, she took her time with this. It was a true labor of love. I mean, everybody that was, like, the first thing gone every Christmas was just the perfect mac and cheese, right? And I'll never have it again. Like, nobody had that recipe because it was a lot of just
I know
doing it
that
by eyeball. That was
my
her,
granny
like,
does the
just
same thing.
measure with love, right? So, that's especially for holidays, like, one of my big questions whenever somebody does have any type of anxiety or stress around the meal is like, "Okay, well, how on a scale of 1 to 10, like, if this ends up being a loved one's last holiday with you, is there anything particular they're bringing that you're like, yo, I want to make sure I get this because I don't know how many more times I'm going to have this. I mean, not to put a dark shadow on it, but it's something worth consideration as we get older. Like I enjoy taking the time to make food. I enjoy taking the time to like I am all about my turkey. I actually make a turkey that doesn't dry and taste like shit.
Do you rotate your turkey? I didn't
Are
know.
you
Or do you
smoking it?
flip it?
Are you putting it? You put it on the smoker, right?
Yep, so I smoke it. I also do the spatchcock. I do rotate every 30 minutes. I know, I said it dirty.
Well, I
Um,
was reading you flip it upside down because it'll all juice down, and then if like every so often you didn't flip it on its back, and then all the juices will go in, and then you can flip it. Like, does that make sense?
yeah, for a traditional turkey, yes, but that's also why I spatchcock, because you're
I
actually
don't know what that is.
so what it is, you take the backbone out and then you press like you're doing CPR. Because the problem with like a traditional bird, I know
Follow.
we're tangent here, but you have that air cavity on the inside that now you have that air cooking it, both external and internal.
Yeah.
With spatchcock, you don't have that air cavity anymore. So it cooks in a fraction of the time.
Yep.
Interesting.
It also like depending like I know my grandparents used to put like ice in the turkey to try and keep it. So then you would have something cold inside when you're trying to heat it from the
All the way
outside.
keep it from cooking as
There's
well.
a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff, but I mean, and to be fair, I want to go on this point. I don't think it matters when you're older. I think you recognize it more when you're older. Like I had a lot of people die in my childhood, so I have always recognized that like we as human beings are very fleeting and like we are like all it takes is a little knock to the noggin the wrong way and we're out, you
Yeah.
know. Um and so trying to, just make the most out of time with people you love is super important. And I do think that that is a good thing because like for you it was mac and cheese. For me, it was breakfast with my grandparents. It was biscuits and gravy. Now, for me, I figured out how to fucking make that shit. I analyzed the idea, and we'll just go through it enough times to make sure that I get it right. So I would encourage you to do the same thing. You can. It'll be a pain in the ass. You'll probably have some nasty ass mac and cheese a few times, but I have faith in you because I don't think it's just an us thing at that point be or a them thing at that point, maybe it's a better way to put it, because then we get to share that with our family, and then we get to continue to do that. Um, and we didn't in my family have a lot of those little things, those little traditions and things that like just were special. But my wife's family has a ton of them, and it's fucking awesome to see how like those simple little things can leave such a lasting impression and bring like so much joy during the holidays. Um, that like I, I kind of wish we had done more of those. I kind of wish we did have more of those, seeing it from the outside
Yeah, you don't
and the inside.
realize it until Steven, I feel like we live the same life almost, but similar. Jake's family is like so loving and they have all these traditions and like it's a big deal. And my family's just not that way. We literally pretty much only see each other on the holidays. Where Jake's parents, I see them every week almost. You know what I mean? They're just a really loving family. His mom, we just had our Thanksgiving this past week and I definitely partook in food.
So yeah, but I mean that is a thing though, because like what that meal, and so maybe it's a Thanksgiving, maybe it's a Christmas. Like my in-laws are New York Italians, so they do like all of the fish and the lobster tails and the
Oh
scallop and all that
yeah.
stuff for Christmas Eve dinner.
Yeah, it's
Always a
was it like
huge
the
thing.
7 fishes or something?
Yes, and it's fucking wild. By the way, if I was like, "What are you guys
Get it.
fucking rich?
Yeah.
What is this shit? Oscar for fucking Christmas Eve every year? What?" Um,
That's fun though that
I
you get
love
to
it.
experience like a traditional family atmosphere. I know it's cool for me just because I didn't have a traditional family atmosphere. So it's fun as an adult and to get to watch my kids experience it as well.
Yeah. So they're coming down because we're not going up there for Christmas this year. They're coming down like the second week of December, and like we're gonna do our Christmas with them while they're down, and they're gonna do the meal and all that
They're
stuff.
gonna cook, yeah.
So so I still get to do it. Um, but it's like it's so interesting to see those differences. But also, again, going back to this idea that that one meal is not going to fuck me up completely forever. I mean, it might if I don't digest that stuff well, right? Like, oh, maybe my tum tum, but it's it's worth it, and because it's a different vibe than my own family, and I think being able to be okay with that. Hopefully, you have a good relationship with your family or whoever you're going to be spending the holiday with. I also do second Thanksgiving every year with my best friend and his wife, who is also named Jillian, except with a J instead of a G. Um, and so, like, we'll do Thanksgiving on Thursday. Then Friday, we'll go up to their place and we'll do Thanksgiving with them. And then Christmas, we'll go down since we're going to stay in town this year, spend that with my grandma and my mom, maybe my uncle if he shows up, who knows. And then we'll come back, take care of the dogs, and then we'll go up and we'll do Christmas with them.
Cool.
Um, and so,
Nice.
like, one of the things I like with them that's not food related, and I think this is also a great idea for those of you who maybe don't have non-food related traditions. Like we talked about the mac and cheese, we talked about like some of that other stuff, but like they do this weird, like it's like a saran wrap ball game, and so you have to.
Yes.
It's fucking awesome.
I love it. We do it
I want
every
to do
year.
the
We
one. Have
do.
you guys seen the one with the hot dogs?
What? I don't think that's what the hot
Keep
dogs.
talking. I'm bring you.
Yeah, yeah.
We do.
And
We
so
do
you
one
have
for
these
the
prizes
kids.
in the saran wrap ball throughout, and so
Mhm.
you have to unwrap the saran wrap ball while the person next to you is throwing dice, and then they get a double, and if they get a double, they get to take the saran wrap ball, blah blah blah, and
But
whatever
you have to
falls
be
out while
wearing
you're
mitts.
unwrapping it, you get to keep.
Yeah, you have to be
Whatever
wearing oven mitts though.
oh, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. Um, we do not use oven mitts.
You got to get the
Um,
wiener and the toilet paper.
Oh,
see,
that
also
is
great. So these are other options that you can like try to bring to the table with your family or whatever, you're doing that might give you other traditions and things to enjoy to make it maybe a little bit less food focused too.
for me
You're gonna
growing.
remember laughs more than you're gonna remember the pie in years past.
Yeah. For me, like kind of one of the big parts growing into my own fitness journey and like making changes for my holidays whenever I was a lot heavier and a lot younger, like I never want somebody to take this as you're having to earn your food because that's just
Right.
not true.
Yeah.
But I started focusing on just trying to do something active. Like it started off just I would go for a walk, just like, hey, I'm getting a little bit of quiet time. Because sometimes like you need that, especially if there's any family or relatives that kind of ramp up your stress or anxiety, like a lot of us have. Uh, but then that kind of evolved once my niece and nephew were a little bit older, and then it became like, hey, let's just throw the football. And that became a good opportunity to just connect with them because especially on holidays, like at this point, I'm like 18, 19 years old, and they were the youngest kids there. Like there was nobody. It was like a giant age gap, right? It's like, hey, they're 2 and 6, and then there's me as like the next youngest person. So no, the kids are just bored, driving each other crazy, bickering, fighting, all that fun sibling stuff. So I became like the cool uncle that I'm actually paying attention to them. I'm asking them like, hey, so what's happening in school this year? Hey, how's sports going? Hey, how's dance going? Hey, how's this? How's that? While we're just throwing a football around. And then eventually it became like, oh yeah, hey, Phil's throwing the football. Well, you know what? That looks kind of fun. So then it became kind of a bigger family thing where it was a really good opportunity for the younger members of our family to just, hey, we're practicing catching a football, we're doing something active. As the adults, like whenever we're trying to actually talk, it's a fun way to be like, all right, hey, run and hit a corner route and just throw. And it's like, yeah, I threw it way too long. Like they can go walk a little extra and bring the ball back so we can have our conversation. But like doing that became a tradition for me. Now I get to do that with my kids because they're old enough to actually catch a football finally. So like you can start to incorporate some type of activity, or like last year we ended up doing a nice walk in our neighborhood. Whenever they're finally off of training wheels, probably start doing like a bike ride like Thanksgiving morning. There's a lot of ways that you can make the focus of the holiday not 100% on the food.
Turkey
Christmas
trucks
is
are
fucking
finally
about
popping
presents
up
anyways,
here.
right?
What'd you
It's not
say,
about food.
Steven?
Christmas is about presents.
Christmas. I already spent so much money on Christmas. The price of things are outrageous.
Okay. Have you seen unfortunately for us, the kids are now into Pokemon cards. I
Mhm.
remember a pack of Pokemon cards whenever I was a kid and it first came out was like 2 or $3,
What are they
and
now?
now it's like $12.
Holy shit.
Like,
Well,
what?
I don't know if I told you guys this already, but Pearl has gotten too smart for her own, but this is probably the last year she'll leave in Santa. She's in 4th grade. I'm not gonna send her to middle school, probably under the impression he's real. Anyway, so this year she asked for a goat, of course, and then she goes, "Mom, I know because they only get 2 things from Santa. I know what else I want." I said, "What?" "The Apple headphones." And I said, "Okay, why?" She goes, "Because I'll ask Santa for that so you don't have to pay for them."
That's a considerate kid.
I know, but the
Those
thing
ones are
is,
better.
I am Santa, so I sure had to order. I ordered them last night, and I had them engraved for because it's free through Apple, but I'm just like, Santa's gonna get all the glory.
That
Yep.
mother effer.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look, I don't like the idea of some man breaking into my house once a year.
I love that idea.
You say
Pew,
that,
pew. You
and
leave
then you
them
find
cookies and he leaves you presents. I mean, he can break into my house anytime. I'll leave the cookies.
nope, I don't want that
Matter of
bastard
fact,
to
if
get
he wants to
credit.
give me the money back on these fucking headphones,
But
there's
the
not
Bose
much
ones are
I
better,
wouldn't
by
do
the
for
way.
Santa.
See, this is why I don't get the Apple stuff is so overhyped. It's not like it's bad stuff, but it's like decent. It's okay. And for the price, you can get like a Bose over the ear headphones or something
Well,
that's
I'd
like
rather
fucking fine.
over the ear sound can't, but she's got sensory issues with sound, so she likes the headphones. I'm
Yeah.
just a sucker, you know. As Phil and I were discussing, I want to give them a life I didn't have, and sometimes I skate that line of is it too much or am I. But here we are.
I mean, I think Pearl's doing pretty all right. She
Yeah,
seems
she's a good
she's
kid.
one of few children that I like.
She's a good kid. She
Uh,
deserves her Apple headphones from Santa, aka mom. And this goat, I got to figure out how to get a live goat into my house Christmas Eve. Where do I put this goat? Because they're loud. So it's going to be a whole Jake. I think we're going to end up keeping the goat at my sister's. He's going to have to sneak over in the middle of the night, steal it from her pen, and get it over here.
So, I
I
I
love
know
it.
I know this move, actually. I do know this move. So, most of the time whenever you're buying them, you can also just arrange, like, a pickup day, and
But
what
I did. They're going to house it for me until a few days before, but they're like 2 hours away, and then we'll go get it, take it to my sister's. That way she has minimal time of dealing with my kid's Christmas present.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So one thing that I do that you guys didn't already state, and I actually use this kind of year round for people with special occasions or vacations, holidays, whatever. That I like to phrase it is, I want you to feel good about the decisions you're going to make before, during, and after. um, and because I think if we're like, you have to behave yourself, it kind of has a negative context. You have to control yourself. It has a negative context. You can't have this, that, or the other thing. It's a negative context. You can't. Um, and it's I don't and I know it's semantics, and I know like it kind of comes off as a like sort of BS to some degree, but it's one of those things where if we're trying to relearn how we feel about food, how we think about food, and those interactions, that oftentimes can come down to, for a lot of people, relearning how to feel about it and kind of restructuring and reframing that. And so if we can start feeling good about making different food choices that are maybe a little bit more in line with our goals or where we want to be or the health outcomes of it, um, I think that is a lot better than just quote unquote not feeling bad
Yeah.
about things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Ooh, nothing to say about that. Come on, you guys.
Ooh.
Awkward silence. Don't do me like that.
No, 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 I do like that because every meal should serve a purpose, like, 365 days out of the year, and if somebody's just taking holidays, special occasions, just kind of one meal at a time, like, that's a great way to just kinda think about, like, we don't do anything special for breakfast on Thanksgiving, so, what's the purpose of this meal? Well, it's the same as most of my other breakfast the other 364 days out of the year. I need something that I know I'm going to digest well, something that I enjoy, something that it's going to hit my protein needs. It's going to get me a little bit of some micronutrients. Most of the time, my breakfast on a any given day is going to be like a protein shake and some type of fruit. I don't have a huge appetite in the morning though. So like there we go. It's the same on Thanksgiving. Now Christmas different story because then that one the script flips and it's okay. Breakfast was always like the big thing in my family growing up. We'd go over to my house next door. Kids are opening up presents, adults are starting to cook breakfast, like, and everybody did something. There was like 4 griddles going at one time. So breakfast for Christmas is more of like, hey, it's memories. It's thinking about like my Aunt Diane who's no longer with us. It's thinking about my Mima, my Papa, like, yeah, my Uncle Jim. I loved him. He was awesome. So like I'm thinking about all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? The purpose of this meal is to remember some of my loved ones that aren't here, but also create this memory for my kids so they can enjoy it. So I'm going to enjoy the meal. I mean, taking a holiday out of it, if it's like if it's your wedding anniversary, okay, if you're doing dinner, that doesn't mean that you just throw away breakfast and lunch and just eat whatever the hell you want, like an unsupervised 7-year-old. You still keep things moving along. I know responsibility
I
and
always
making
tell
adult
clients
decisions.
too, whatever the meal is, whatever the occasion is, you should be really solid in why you're hiring a coach and why you're eating healthy or why you want to lose weight. Like there should be a really good reason outside of I want to be skinny or I want to, and whatever that is, I always tell them approach that meal and make the decision that's going to make you're going to feel the best about, right? So if you're going to, let's say, YOLO it because of whatever reason, is that going to bring you closer or further away from your goal? And how are you going to feel about that? And I tell them, make any choice. Like, it doesn't matter to me whether somebody's like, hey, I'm going to stick to my macros Thanksgiving. Great. That's what they want to do. It's going to bring them closer to what they want. But if they're like, hey, it's going to bring me more joy to not open up my fitness app and enjoy my family time. Great. Do that. Like, you should do what, and there's no right or wrong. You're not failing or winning either direction because even if you think you failed because the scale went up, you gained that time with your family. You gained the enjoyment out of it. Now, if you're overeating and you just feel like, I think that would be a deeper look. If no matter what you do, you just feel guilt and shame and you feel terrible about the holiday, I would reevaluate kind of your why. And, that would take some deeper steps. That's probably outside of my scope of coaching, but that would be a mentality with food and maybe, having like a therapist talk to, about your relationship and how it feels. But I think, again, like I said before, just taking the emotion out of it and making the choice that's going to truly make you the happiest. Don't let someone talk you into the other way either, because I've seen, you know, where somebody went into it and means, no, I wanted to do this, but, people started giving me a hard time or it's a holiday or that takes, I feel like that just takes time. You get harder over time of setting those boundaries. A really good out, if anybody's ever in that situation, holiday or not, a really good out that usually shuts people down is just saying you're not hungry or you're full or you'll eat
I don't
something
want it.
about it. Yeah, or I don't want it. Like that's a really dead stop way to just be like, I don't, but some people,
And the way to get people to push harder on that is saying, I can't have it.
yes, that is,
That I have never once seen somebody be like, "Oh, I can't have that," and that didn't cause the people around them to push harder on, "Fuck that. Yeah, you can. You're an adult. Of course you can. It's I'm choosing not to."
yep.
And I think so there's a couple big things here that I wanna try and maybe touch on at least a little bit before we get to the point where we can't talk about anything. Um, and one of them is the emotional impact of the holidays. For you guys, it seems like we're really trying to create good memories. And for me, that's what I'm trying to do now. That doesn't mean that I associate the holidays with good memories. And so for a lot of people, the holidays and even as parents and you kind of touched on a little bit, the holidays are stressful. Work can be like, if you're a coach, like for us, for example, that's typically the slower time of year, right? So it can be a little bit stressful if maybe your income is down, but the amount that you're expected to spend on people is the highest part of the year. right? I've got to get everybody gifts and things are slow and yada yada, whatever. Not a like, don't feel bad for me. Everybody will get their gifts. We're all right. Um, but that can be a big thing, especially for people that maybe don't have a lot of extra income. Work can be more stressful, right? It's if it's quarter end, it's end of year, like there
Deadlines on short weeks.
for sure, right? And so you still have all the same things you have to get done, but less time to do them. Like that creates stress. People tend to honestly, even though it's the time of year where we're supposed to be nice to each other, supposedly, people tend to be fucking dicks this time of year.
Yeah. Because everybody's emotions are high.
Yeah, so there's all of that, and then, the for me, the wallflower, the what in the room, what do they call it?
Elephant?
Yeah,
Elephant.
the elephant in the room is alcohol too, because this is our socially acceptable legal way to deal with stress and a lot of the other stuff that comes in. And so people have positive associations and relationships with the holidays and still will drink and have a very heavy alcohol intake during those as well. But people who don't have them also tend to drink a lot and use that as kind of a social lubricant. Like, ah, fuck, I got to go deal with my family. Like, well, I, at least I'll have some drinks while I'm there. That'll make it go a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
And so this is another part of it that I feel like it's hard to talk about. So fucking people just don't. But I mean, if you want to be truly successful through the holidays, like it's not we can't just be hopeful and think that everything's hunky dory and you
Yeah.
fucking love the holidays and spending time with your
Well,
family.
and some people, it brings on great depression because if, let's say, last year was the last holiday somebody had with their son or daughter, and now it's coming back around, sometimes, and I have a couple clients who just they've had traumatic things happen at a holiday season, and every year it reopens that wound for them sometimes. And so, and that's where too, like, I know it seems like, but it's so trivial to over stress about food on a holiday when that's the least important thing about that time with your family is how much did you eat? Because I guarantee if in 10 years I say, hey, client, what'd you eat for Thanksgiving? If I say now in 2015, how much did you eat? They'd be like, I don't fucking know. Because it
Right. Like,
wasn't relevant. It wasn't an important part of that holiday.
yeah, like, who the hell is looking at somebody else's plate on a holiday, and judging how much are you having?
Me,
Like,
I am 100%.
Father-in-law judges me because what I love pumpkin pie, but you can't see it because I have so much Cool Whip on it. And every year they get extra and just laugh about how much I cover my pumpkin pie and Cool Whip.
right, like, that's like
So
that's like a different
let
thing.
me interrupt you here because I do, and I do it almost every single time I see my mom because she's big time overweight. She consistently talks about how she's quote unquote behaving herself and eating well. But every single time I see her, it's a holiday, it's a birthday, it's Easter, it's this, it's that. It's a birthday. She's doing something that doesn't align with that. And so even though she's always making a big deal out of this thing, and same with my uncle, right? He's hired cooks that they make good food, not healthy food. He's trying to control his weight to improve his Parkinson's, whatever. And so like for me, it becomes a frustration and I can't help but notice it. Now, I keep my fucking mouth shut because I understand that that doesn't help, but that's not everybody. There's other people where they will absolutely make comments and say things, and maybe like I don't know if you know this, Kelly, but like that quintessential like mom talking to the daughter, like, "Are you sure you need that extra pie?"
Yeah.
And you're just like, "Fuck you, mom!" Like they're quote unquote worried about your weight, but the way that they go about it and the way that they say it is really shitty. So I do think
And that
people experience that.
damages
That's not
people
uncommon.
long term. I have clients that I have conversations with all the time. I just had a really good one with a client because she's very overweight. She's trying really hard, but she has setbacks. And we had a deep conversation about how her mom used to shame her as a child and would tell her she was overweight, but at the same time tell her she needed to finish her plate and force food. And so she just has this bad balance. And I actually coach her and her husband, and they have a daughter that's under 1, and they're trying really hard to change their life so that their daughter has a different way of growing up around food. And I think that, that's why I hate talking about food around the holidays, but it's a conversation that people, they have real questions about it, and they get nervous to navigate it.
Yeah. So just to kind of jump back to to what I was saying. Like, I've never paid attention to what's on somebody else's plate in terms of like, oh, you're having a second thing of macaroni and cheese on a holiday. Because in 3 weeks, I'm not going to remember anyways. Like, I can't tell you how much, I can't say how much green bean casserole my sister had the last Christmas that my Aunt Diane was alive. Like, that was always my Aunt Diane's thing, was her green bean casserole.
Well, how your family is each associated with a certain food.
Well, yeah, like everybody has like their signature thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's the turkey. For my wife, she makes a ham with bourbon gravy that's been passed down. Like
That's
everybody
awesome.
has their
I'm
thing.
similar, except everybody's associated with the trauma.
Same. Me and my siblings sit around and like laugh about stuff I won't even discuss on this podcast in case my mother listens to it. But yeah, we typically tell like horror stories of Christmas and Thanksgiving's past.
Like I've been on the receiving end, like having been the big guy in the family, I've been on the receiving end of both ways of, you know, oh hey, you're putting a lot on your plate there. Oh, you're going back for a third plate. Like I've been there. I've been that guy in the family that like, hey, if I was, if I was Steven's brother or cousin, like, yeah, you'd be like, yo, I'm worried about your health. My family didn't say it from that perspective at all. But I've also been on the flip side of like, I remember the first holiday where, so we have what we call an uncle daddy in my family because one guy has been married to both of my mom's sisters. So my cousins are legally brother and sister
Stop it.
also. Dead serious. He got arrested. He's no
I love
longer in
this.
the family. He's no longer in the family. He got arrested one time in the dead of winter. And because he didn't have a shirt on when he got arrested, they handed him like a wool blanket. And he had a really long white beard. So we called him now Redneck Gandalf.
Yeah.
This is the unhinged family shit I
It was
look for during the
it was
holidays.
like, you shall not pass this sobriety
Well, he
test.
was married to both sisters. What a wild! Can you imagine one holiday to the next? Like, guess who's
Um,
back?
yeah, like there was not much gap between there. But like I remember he
Oh,
was the
what a
person
shitty
though.
sister too.
I mean, it's a whole thing. But, like, I remember my first holiday season where, like, okay, I was probably, like, 4 months into losing weight, like, I'd already lost, like, a really substantial amount of weight in that time period, and I remember just wanting to stay locked in because I'm super connected with my goal, like, I'm making a lot of progress. There was a lot of stress and anxiety about, like, "Okay, well, if I go completely unhinged on this holiday, like, what's gonna happen? Am I going to get back on track the next day?" So I kept everything just on lock and key. And then I remember getting the opposite comments from my family, particularly him, about, oh, so now you suddenly care about your health? Like, bitch, I'm 16 years old. Like, I was
Leave me the
16 and over
fuck alone.
330 pounds. Like, I'd be glad that I made a change, but also I would get those same comments from him and a couple of other family members for the next several holiday cycles. And it took me into my early 20s to finally have the light bulb moment of, you know what? If that person's going to comment about what's on my plate, do I really give a shit about their opinion?
And they're just projecting because most of the time it's people who wish they could have the same restraint and they can't. I mean, I don't know if those people were overweight, but a lot of times people speak out of how they're a mirror. They're saying and acting in a way that what you made them feel and see.
Oh, dude is like 120 pounds soaking wet.
So he's just a dick.
Yeah, he's just a drunk redneck asshole.
I mean, sometimes it be like that, but and so I think it's important to know that it's when you're not in, or you're not in control, nor are you responsible for other people's reactions to your behaviors. Um, and so, however you decide you want to manage a holiday, meals, whatever they may be, um, that is up to you, and that's your choice. Now, if obviously you have those goals and you want to stay adherent to them, it might not be about being like quote unquote perfect. It might just be like, shit, like I normally, fuck, well, I'll use myself for example. I normally house at least half of that pie every fucking year. At least half of a pie to just me.
Hey, Steven's like, if
Okay.
I don't have to unbutton my pants, I'm not done.
No, I don't wear buttons. I just wear the elastic pants. Um,
Sweatpants,
so
Steven.
right. So maybe everything else is the same, but I'm having an eighth of the pie. Like I have
Yeah.
a traditional serving size of it. That's fucking awesome. You have made positive progress. You are now closer than you used to be. Like we have now made, or you have now made, an overall improvement that is going to positively impact and benefit you for your health and wellness and physique goals. Um, and so I think this is one of the other things, like with these, everybody's trying to prove everything to themselves all at once and to everybody else. Um, and it, sure, some people do have, on rare occasion, people have very 100% one or 180 turns, whatever it might be. But for most people, it is slowly but surely making your way towards that. And so maybe it is something as simple as that. Maybe it's just like, I'm not going to have as much dessert and I'm going to stick to it. And I'm going to, focus more. I'm going to eat a little bit extra protein and stuff and yada, yada. Fucking good on you, dude. Like, that's awesome, because it's not everybody else you have to prove it to, it's yourself. If you prove to yourself that you are the person that does the things that you want to do and you're the one that follows through and sticks to your commitments, whether that means it's a fast or a slower turnaround, like that is the person who is going to inevitably make their goal happen. Um, and so like what your story made me think of, Phil, is like they saw you as somebody else still. And again, that can happen with people that you only see a couple times a year. But you had already been changing.
Right.
And so the big thing that like I would have taken from that as a positive is be like, yeah, well, they're challenging you because who you are, the decisions you make, the things that you do have changed. And so you're a quote unquote, to some degree, different person to them now. And for a lot of people, maybe it's not even a negative thing. They don't mean to be an asshole or they don't mean to offend you, whatever. They're like, oh, but Steven's like, you take me back to like high school in my early 20s. Steven's the guy that gets fucking blackout drunk and it's a blast to be around all the time. Like, well, not anymore. Like,
I
oh, but
know,
I loved blackout Steven.
Stephen,
He was
I
great.
know somebody specifically who I recall saying you weren't fun anymore because of that said thing, which we can discuss after this, but I'm sure you can guess
Oh,
who it
you mean
was.
Paul said I wasn't fun anymore because I quit drinking? I don't know. Well,
Yes,
hey,
but that's sad, right? Like you're not funny, or just because you don't choose to partake in certain life things. And I think
Yeah.
that's something to be said to that anybody listening. If someone is judging or saying you're not fun or being negative, it's because they liked the other version of you. And that might mean family doesn't always work this way, but it might mean that you're done, like their time in your life is done, right? Like if they don't like the version you're evolving into, it's okay if people don't follow you into that chapter. I had people that I was friends with that as I started to compete, they literally said to me, if you're not going to drink, don't come. And so I stopped coming around because I was going to evolve whether they wanted to follow me on that path or not.
What's the saying? There are people that are in your life for a season, and there are people in your life that are there for a reason.
yeah. And to be fair, like I'm the happiest I've ever been. Right. And so like these past years of like figuring things out and what works for me and what doesn't. And this is where I think it's really important to encourage people. Like, we can have outside understandings or opinions on things. We never truly know where a person is at inside and where they're at. Um, that's why I love that Ted Lasso is just amazing in general. Um, but one of the greatest things that they said was stop being judgmental and be curious. And so when we ask questions like, "Hey, Steven, like I know we used to really have a lot of fun when we were out partying and drinking and blah blah blah. Like, what's changed? Like, is there a reason that that's just not what you want to do anymore, or that you're not doing it anymore?" Right? Like, "Hey, oh, I see that maybe some of your eating habits are a little bit different this year. Like, what changed? Is there something I don't know about that
What are
like
you into?
you want to share with me that maybe I can help support you with, even?" You know what I mean? And that's when and it's the difference of being concerned about someone else like external versus internal. It's the opposite of what we normally talk about wanting for your motivation, right? You want internal, not external motivation. But it's the op and most people aren't good at this. We're all selfish. It's hard. It's not a natural thing. But, like, asking those questions, like, "Well, I just noticed something's different, like, what's going on? Like, is something different?" Because then also it gives us the opportunity to support the people that we care about in the things that they want. That's why, like, for me, again, I don't say anything, but the thing with my mom creates tension and friction there inside me. Is like, "You say you want this. I would love to support and help you with this, but you're not doing, like, you're you continue to do stuff that kind of makes you make that backwards progress." But
Yeah.
sometimes we need that extra help, and that helps us to stay but we have to communicate that and ask for it. Nobody wants help they didn't ask for, or
Well,
most people don't.
and think of how much it changes for somebody if you look at them and you're like, "Hey, I've noticed you've lost some weight. I'm really proud of you." Instead of commenting what's on their plate, instead of commenting what they are earning, just like be a good human, right?
Yeah,
And if
like,
you
"Hey,
don't
that
act,
was
you're not
really
actually
helpful."
proud of that person, you should get fucked, right? Because if I saw one of my family members who were overweight and I noticed their portion sizes were small and they lost weight, I would be like, "I'm really proud of you. You've been wanting to do this."
So for
You know what I
me,
mean?
that was something that was very lacking at, like, the big holidays. Cause yeah, like, I'd hear that from mainly, like, my dad or my sister. They were the ones that were like, "Wow, Phil, you're really moving along. You're really doing well." And, like, it was trying to just get a new identity for myself of like, "Oh, I am someone," like, I had to really see and believe in myself of, I am someone who I eat healthy. I am someone who I take care of myself now. I didn't used to be, but I am now. And especially for, again, I work with a lot of people that they've got quite a fitness journey in front of them. And whenever you're talking about decades worth of holiday time, like they're the person that always gets sent home with like the largest plates of leftovers, or, "Hey, we just got a little bit of this left, why don't you go ahead and finish this off?" Like, your family may view you that way, but as soon as you stop viewing yourself as that and you recognize more of what does the recent body of evidence show for you, for who you really are, that's whenever now a lot of change happens and now you reclaim a lot of power from other people. Like, I was the person in the family. I was the largest person in my family. Whenever there was just a tiny bit left, it was, "Well, hey, just give it to Phil, he'll eat it." I didn't want to be that way anymore. That was why I also had so much anxiety about my first holiday season. And it was lonely. It was kind of depressing. People just kept trying to push, push, push. And finally just, okay, it took time, but that did become what I was known for, was like, "Oh, well, Phil's gonna eat a lot of turkey. Better make sure we've got a big enough bird."
But you probably
Oh,
motivated people even without knowing it too. For every person that makes a stupid ass comment, there is somebody that you probably silently motivated or inspired. Like, damn, look at Phil. He said he was going to do the fucking thing and he did it.
well, I
Like
mean,
that's motivating.
it took 20 years of being into my fitness journey, and I mean, I became a personal trainer like 18, 19 years old for the first time. Like, been doing this for so long, helped countless people at this point. It took all this time, and it was finally like 6 months ago where my mom, who has always struggled with her weight, was finally like, "All right, you've kept this off for 20 years. Help me."
So,
Finally.
alright, so do you guys have, like, a few minutes still? I know we're on a different day.
Yeah, yeah, I got a couple more
Okay.
minutes.
So I think the best way, because obviously we've talked about a bunch of other stuff, like, I really like the idea of ending on how do we help other people? And so my question for each of you would be, what was one of the things that stood out to you that helped support you or helped you feel the most supported in meals, like holiday meals, your fitness goals, your stuff? I think for me, one of the things was, and I'll start first so you guys have time to think about it. Um, it was simple, but we used to always eat and then sit on our asses and like watch the Thanksgiving Day parade or do nothing or whatever. But like we would eat, and I don't even think that it was about me. But afterwards, my grandparents were like, okay, we're trying to be a little bit more active. Do you guys want to go for a walk with us after the meal? And so now it just added a little bit. We would walk around the block, maybe twice if they were feeling, zesty that day. Um, and it was so simple. It was such an easy little thing. It wasn't even a big deal, but it was one of those nice things that's like, okay, cool. Because what I didn't realize is that it made me, I used to go to the gym to work out, even on the holidays. I would go to the 24-hour gym, whatever. It made me feel like I didn't have to take that time away. It gave me the option to do something that was a little bit more active, not quite the same, sure, with them. And so, like, that supportive change was something that really just, I don't know, it sticks out to me now. Um, that I thought was super beneficial. And so now it's something that, I'll sometimes bring up like, hey, do you guys want to? I know we just finished eating, we got everything put in the fridge. You guys want to go for a quick walk or something? And so it's just an easy way to be supportive on that stuff without ever making a judgment call, without ever pressuring anybody on anything, um, and just being really chillax and a vibey. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. I wish I had a scenario or example, but I don't think my family does support me. I don't think they've ever done anything directly to help support it and say like, "Oh, hey, I made this without XYZ," or "Hey, this will be stuff you could." But I grew up that way where I'm on my own, right? But I'm strong enough willed that I just, the holidays, like, cause I've been through preps before during like Thanksgiving and Christmas where I've been in like an active prep where I couldn't partake in the normal meal. I just bring my own stuff, or I would ask my mom ahead of time kind of what she was making. I don't think I've no, my sisters are very supportive, but I just don't think they've ever. But I also hold that personality where everybody just knows Kaylee's got it. Like, I'm gonna be okay. I got it. I kind of hate that sometimes
Until
because
you
I
don't.
assume I'm strong enough to handle XYZ. Um, but I'm okay with that, right? Because I just kind of did it on my own, and knew that I had it taken care of. But I don't think there's ever been a scenario where they like out.
Then you have to think of what you would do that you think would be a great way to
Yeah, if
support
I
people.
had somebody that I knew was in prep or healthy, eating healthy and I was cooking, I would 1000% be like, "Hey, what could I make that you can have? Like, what dish would you love to have?" And I'd try to find a macro-friendly way or a way to let them have something because I've done a lot of, like, macro-friendly recipe type stuff for desserts. So I would go out of my way to have one thing where I could give them the macros for it and they could still enjoy like everybody else and feel like they weren't missing out.
Yeah, I think for me, I spent several holidays where I wasn't around my family for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, like in my early to late 20s. Like there was a good stretch there where I wasn't present at Thanksgiving or Christmas. Nikki and I had started dating, then we got engaged, then we got married. And it wasn't until Ellie was born that I was back around out of more so convenience with a baby. Okay, well, let's do the local one instead of flying to New Jersey. And that was finally like that first holiday back was whenever I truly felt like my family now, like, hey, maybe they missed me not being there for the last several years. And it was a completely different vibe. It was a completely different change of, hey, there was now no more pressure around like food. There was no judgment about like, oh yeah, Phil, like, I like working out and I've always been usually pretty blessed with having either a home gym or like an anytime fitness close by. I like getting a workout in on Thanksgiving just because it makes me feel good. But like I used to get a lot of grief over that from my family and finally, whenever I came back, it wasn't about like, "Oh yeah, Phil, did you get your workout in?" Or, "Oh, hey, Phil, you're gonna, you're gonna go throw the football with the kids, whatever." Like that was when everything finally shifted and changed, and it was like, "Oh, yeah, hey, we kind of missed throwing the football. Like, can we go do that while halftime's on?" Absolutely. "Oh, hey, Phil, you made the turkey this year, man. It's really phenomenal. It's so good. No wonder you buy a 20-pound bird." Yep, that's why, like, and no one cared that I'm sitting there eating, like, probably 10 to 12 ounces of turkey by myself, like, just I like it. Uh,
Ham, man, I'm a ham girl on the holiday. Give me a ham
dude,
with some pineapple on it.
ugh, Okay,
Yeah.
you put pineapple on anything and I'm down. I am pineapple on pizza.
Same.
Yep.
Ham,
I do it
pineapple,
just to
and
piss off
bacon.
my in-laws.
What'd you say, Steven?
I put the pineapple on the pizza just to piss off my in-laws.
My buddy Chris and his family, they're from New York, and as soon as I was like, "Yeah, pineapple on pizza," they just went, "Get the fuck out."
Some people get real, like, that's a touchy subject for some reason, and whether or not you like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, but I'd say that, like, right now, the way that I try to create, like, a really good environment, because, like, again, Troy and his family's coming over. They are also health conscious people. Like, sure, we're gonna make our traditional dishes, but it's also like, "Hey, we have a salad." The turkey it's protein. It's also lean. Like I stopped doing the injectable butter now. Like, it's gonna be just super flavorful because I brine it, I smoke it. Like it's gonna be awesome. But we also make sure like, hey, there's food for the kids to enjoy so they can just be kids and food is just food. But we also make sure like, yeah, I'll do my protein pudding as like one of the dessert options. So it's like, hey, if I'm watching the late game on Thursday night and I want to have something a little sweet, but I also want to feel good about my choice, it's there. And on the flip side, if I've eaten slow for the day and I've still not enjoyed my slice of both pecan and pumpkin pie, there's the time that I can
Have
enjoy
you
it.
ever tried to make a protein pudding pie? I bet that would be good. And you could get, like,
I
the
I've done like
sugar-free
the
Cool Whip.
protein I've done like the protein cheesecakes
Mhm.
before, and those can turn out really, really well. But for holidays, I really try to make sure that it's just like, hey, I'm making food
Yeah,
that tastes good more than
yeah.
anything else. There are options that are going to be a little more macro friendly. Cause I mean, I've had friends that have been in prep during Thanksgiving. It's like, look, this is the exact ingredients. This is how much per serving each macro. If you digest this well, I wanted to have an option for you.
Yeah. So sometimes the answer is shutting the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's how we be helpful. Just shut the fuck up.
When in
Um,
doubt, shut the fuck up.
but I also like those things too. Like, oh, cool. Can I bring anything? Cool. All right. So maybe if they want me to bring soda and I know they normally don't drink diet soda, maybe I'll bring a couple regular soda, 2 liters, and I'll bring some diet soda, 2 liters. Right. I don't have to say anything. I'm going to drink the diet soda. I don't give a shit.
Yep, I always do
Like,
that. If I have to bring something, I bring it more towards my eating habits.
right. So it doesn't even have to be something that's necessarily said. Like Phil might not say, "Look, I got salad here too. Look, I got some other things that are a little bit less on the high calorie side too." Like and just providing those things without having to say stuff. You might not even have to tell anybody that it's protein pudding or whatever, right? They eat it, cool. They eat it. What's up, dude? We just got some extra protein. You didn't need to know that it wasn't fucking regular.
I have to hide it from Jesse because he will eat the entire thing.
See? That's what I'm saying. So anyways, I hope you guys let's end it because we're getting late as usual. It's almost like we like each other. It's fucking
I
gross.
know.
So we hope you guys have had a wonderful Thanksgiving because this will come out after. And hope you have a wonderful whatever rest of the holidays that you may celebrate as they come up. Um, and ending thoughts? Anybody? Anybody?
The
Bueller?
ending thoughts are potato.
Potato,
Bueller.
Full circle.
potato.
Potato.